council next week.
Call the meeting to order, and we have no petitions from the audience that I know of. So number 4, mayor's report, tax reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have the sales tax.
Yes, sir.
Use tax and the tobacco tax report.
Mhm.
Like I always do, I annualize those. We annualize all three of those. We're at $11,418,823, which is about level of what we were last year. So,
We went ahead about $34,473 in sales tax and behind $49,636.37 from last month. Yeah.
right. So that's the sales tax report. I want to call your attention to this combined cash investment report,
Yes, sir.
and that's several pages. A few highlights. One that is not encouraging is on page 13, which is our general fund, and we were $784,000 in the red. Okay, after a third of a year of reporting, we're $784,000 in the red. All right, and that is something to be concerned about. So I just want to bring that to your attention. If you look at Fund 44, we've had some action out of significant action out of Fund 44, and that's also something that's planned tonight. You'll find that on page 33. On page 33 is the balance sheet. And you'll see that we do have $500,000 in there, and you can also see that we have brought in $156,000 more than we have spent out of that, but we haven't spent anything yet, really. So tonight we're going to talk about that, but I do want you to have an understanding that we do have funding in that 44 fund, that capital outlay fund, and there are going to be some talk about that fund tonight. If you'll look over, let me get to the page number here. Page 55 and following is the rec center, and the golf course are kind of a shining star right now in what they are doing, and so they're doing very well. You may have noticed the Facebook post about the outdoor fitness court, and we've got that up, and there's
Looking good.
a grand opening on that coming up soon. I think that's perhaps not this Friday, but I think next Friday. It is this Friday. We'll get that. I'm sorry? On the 21st, a week from Friday. So we want to participate in that. But all of these items with the rec center are doing well. You'll see that we show $141,900 in the red, but that was budgeted that way. Part of that is because of the fitness court, and we'll be receiving some grant monies back in to offset some of that. Some of that also is in repair and maintenance, some things that needed to be done at the rec center. But we're doing well with our sales tax receipts, and also the other receipts that you see on page 56. You see the memberships item is doing very well. The grants and donations, there was $6,100 that came in from the Jock Mayer Foundation. Jessica put in $6,100 because that's what the city, that's what the street department had contributed over to pour that concrete. And so, anyway, that's going well. If you go back to find it here. I also want to show you street department. That'd be on page 40, I'm sorry, page 20, page 22. And you'll see that we have about $2.6 million in the street department before we will be spending funds out of the street department for those projects. So one of the things that you see on this report, if you look on the period actual, you see all the zeros. Okay? We are behind. We're behind in updating our numbers. We're behind in updating our numbers. And so I'll speak to you a little bit more about that when we get into some of these other items that are on the agenda. So we've had some some difficulties in getting everything posted for various reasons, and so that's the reason why you see all the zeros there on the street department. It's also the reason why you see zeros on some of the other departments on the period actual. The year-to-date actual, I think is accurate, but the period actual, which would be the month, is not. So anyway, I'm not sure if all that's confusing to you. If you have questions, please ask, and I'll try to do the best job that I can to try to answer your questions.
Well, we'll need a little more time to look this over, having just gotten it. So
Yes, sir.
I'm sure we'll have questions.
I hope so. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Number 5.
I'm sorry, you skipped number 3, we need to approve the minutes.
Oh, okay. Discuss possibly approve the minutes of the September 13, 2022 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, call for a vote, please.
Pryor,
Yes?
Seaver,
Yes.
Chitwood.
Abstain.
Okay, number 5, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding amending the 2022 to 2023 Pryor Creek recreational budget to fund the following accounts: aquatic temp salaries account number 848465018 in the amount of $48,000, swim instructors temp salaries account 848465019 in the amount of $6,000, and the floor temp fitness salaries account number 848485018 in the amount of $35,000. Said funds reflects a deduction in the Pryor Creek Recreational Center Capital Improvements account number 848455413 in the total amount of $89,000. This action clears the era of non-funding the listed accounts without changing the total for the Pryor Creek Recreational Center 2022-2023 budget. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion.
This was an effort to clear an error. Actually, there were 2 errors, and those errors are explained in the motion. And since it did not change the bottom line of the budget, why should I bring it to budget personnel? Well, the reason I should bring it to budget personnel is because budget personnel voted on a budget that had items in it. So, So the request is that Budget Personnel would approve and send to council this adjustment to the rec center budget, which does not change the bottom line. What it does change are those items that are listed, taking $89,000 out of the capital improvements account line was the best action. If you'd like to see that on Fund 84. That's item 845. It's on page 57. Item 845-5413, capital improvements. You'll see there's not been any expenditures out of that so far. And those expenditures were budgeted mainly in anticipation of doing some things to the backyard and
Okay.
investing dollars in development of that backyard. That's
So-
something that is put on, basically is put on hold anyway.
So this doesn't have anything to do with the humidity problem they're having,
No.
building a wall and everything?
No.
Different account, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yeah, different account.
And so basically, we're putting the backyard on hold for a while, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, good.
We want to get the humidity issue, the air handling issue done first. We have budgeted some rough estimates about that, and we're really not sure what that's going to cost us yet. I
Okay,
anticipate being able to understand what those costs will be at our next rec board meeting, which will be in November.
all right. And we've already voted on these raises. These are something we've already voted on.
Yes, yeah.
It was something we'd approved before and already
That's
passed
correct.
council.
That
Yeah,
is correct, yes.
so we just need to make sure that we have the money to do it now, right? In the right,
In the right
line
slot.
item. Yeah.
In the right line item.
Yeah. Okay, do we have any further
No.
discussion? Have anything, Randy?
No, not.
Okay, nothing else. Call for a vote.
Seaver,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes. Okay, number 6, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding amending the golf budget to increase payment for temporary employees from $10 per hour as follows. Temporary labor 1, fairway mower, $15 an hour. Temp labor 2, rough mower, $15 per hour. Temp labor 3, 4, and 5, $13 per hour. The proposed increase will amend the budget line 41,415,5012 from $72,900 to $107,868,000, and the total golf budget from $678,983 to $713,951. Present revenue producing trends support this action. Have a motion.
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. Okay.
Mr. Chairman and committee, so in order for the golf course to keep these temporary employees, to keep these employees, we have to raise those wages because he's not been able to keep them. The encouraging thing about it is that the level of business that they're doing out there supports the change. So to increase that to $713,951 from $678,983, he's generating enough revenues to be able to support that.
You had numbers last council meeting on how much more they had been making, or I think maybe Mr. Bowman did.
Yeah.
I don't have those numbers before me.
So his report was for instance, this past month, last year they did about $60,000, but they did $80,000. They did $20,000 more. And so their revenues, the revenues are tracking a lot more than they have been in the past. Right now, the total equity is, the fund equity is $149,900.
Okay.
And he's able So those funds have been accumulating, and so he has the funding, they have the funding at the golf course to be able to raise this number. Also, the golf course is an enterprise fund. If it were out of the general fund, then that would be more complicated because we would file that with county would file that with the state, and that's just the way we would have to do that in the general fund. But because this is an enterprise fund, then we don't have to go through those processes.
Okay. Another thing too, I'm looking at the budgets here by the month, and you won't have all 5 of those guys working the full year because they're not going to need to be out there mowing fairways and everything in the winter and stuff like that.
That is correct.
Even though golf will still probably be played when everybody's in Carhartts, but you know they like golf, so.
That's the way we are at Pryor.
Yeah, that's the way it works. So we're not really looking at a total of 12 months out of the year these people work, and it's just during the growing season and things like that. So it's not going to be quite as much as what we would think it might be.
That is correct. However, I did ask him to annualize those numbers, and so
Yeah.
the number that he brought were numbers that were annualized.
Well, I'm looking at what the total difference looks like it's going to be, and it's $30,215.31. So we're looking at around $30,000 difference from what it was last year. And if you look at,
$30,000 difference from what it was budget from what it was
Budgeted, yeah.
Yes.
and if you look at anybody downtown, you know, they're paying close to that just to get people to work now. So it's kind of crazy that the wages are that high, but that's where they're at. So
So at budget time, I'm asking Dennis, this moment, I'm saying, is that enough? And he said, well, I'm hoping so.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
hoping so.
yeah.
But
You can go down to just about any place downtown and they're looking for help now, and they're paying, you know, $13 to $15 an hour. So
How many
that's-
temp employees does he have? Just depends.
not sure.
I think that is how many there are. There's
It
one,
looks like-
4 or 5.
It looks like 5 total.
Oh, yeah, fine.
Here's the
So
way
you
it
got one,
breaks down. But see, they're only working 5 of them in May. The rest of them are 4. And not the rest of the months, but during the summer months or the growing months, there's only working 4. So during the fall and the winter months, of course, they're backed off. I guess it hires them since they're temporary as needed to keep the course up.
he does, and he tries to hire the same ones.
They know what they're doing. They won't tear up the equipment.
Yeah, one of the things that he has done over time, which has worked well for him, is hiring those same ones. And when he needs a full-time, then he tries to hire somebody who's he has been able to season and mentor at the golf course,
Yeah. So
which is wise.
again, it looks like about a $30,000 difference right there. That's what the difference per annum is going to be. Okay. Any
Anything
further
else?
questions? If he's making $20,000 a month, it looks like that would be covered in about a month and a half worth of playing golf if it holds up like it is now. That'll be good.
It's a good problem to have.
Hopefully it stays that way, yeah.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussions or questions?
No?
All right, call for a vote.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Seaver.
Yes.
Okay, number 7, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding an expenditure in amount of $9,672.88 to Dell Technologies for 8 Optiplex 7090 computers for the Pryor Creek Police Department. This is NASPO pricing and was included in the 2022-2023 Police Equipment Capital Outlay Budget Account Number 444455424. Do I have any motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. Okay. Yes, sir.
Kevin, you want to come up too? This is going to bring us up with the amount of computers that we're gonna need, correct? That's correct. For oncoming officers that are coming in.
Okay,
We've got 3 that are getting ready to start here in another month, or at the end of this month.
okay, well, are those officers the ones we're discussing here, or are
No,
these?
these are.
Okay, okay, thank you. And so this is for their units also?
No, these are towers. These are for the
I'm sorry.
police department. These are going to PD in the new facility.
Okay,
Once we're in the new
okay,
facility, to actually have them in the offices
okay,
for the officers to use. Currently, we will not have enough
okay,
computers for each of the officers and
right.
the various areas to utilize if
Okay.
emergencies aid.
So I haven't seen it yet. Is that going to work, or how many offices are you going to have for the officers themselves? Are they going to have, they're not going to have their own office, that'd be, what, 30 offices? So that'd be a lot of offices, but they're going to have, they're going to share office space, correct?
That's correct. And to utilize what we have, and we're bringing over our computers now, but we have 6 workstations that we will be utilizing here
Okay.
at the new PD for the patrol officers.
Right,
Besides the offices. And we'll have to have those for those new cubicles for their workstations.
right.
And 2 additional for supervisors.
And I don't know for sure how long, but the computers probably only last maybe, what, 4 or 5 years, and they're outdated, and you have to,
If that long.
if that
Yeah.
long, yeah,
So I'll say a couple of years depending on the usage for sure.
yeah, yeah,
And again, we do have several offices down there in that building, but.
you do.
We also have an area where the patrol officers a common area where they'll work out of.
And that's probably where these will go, in that area there. Okay, I understand. Yeah, we have to keep up with the technology, that's for sure. Okay, any further discussion or questions? Thank you, guys. Call for a vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Chipley,
Yes.
Okay, next one is discuss, possibly recommend council action to authorize the Pryor Police Department, Pryor Creek Police Department, to begin the selection process for 3 patrol officers included in the 2022-2023 police budget. Hire dates to be determined by mayor and council. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Discussion, please.
Okay, again, what we're looking at is, we're not asking you all to immediately hire somebody, but our hiring process is a long, drawn-out affair. If we test, and then we go through the testing, background, interviews, and police pension physical, it's a long, drawn-out thing, so we're just asking that you all consider to let us start that process, so when the time comes, that we'll have a pool to draw from.
May I ask a question? We just heard from the mayor that we're $700 and some thousand in the hole right now in the red. So at this time, if we go forward with this and you decide that you have an officer that you have to have, and you basically say you passed the test and all this, and the council decides to not give you the officer at that time due to the budget, that's going to be kind of a bad deal. That's going to.
It would be, it
Yeah.
would be.
Would it not be better if maybe we table this until the budget looks a little better and then start it, which it could turn around, but we've got we're working on the tax dollars, sales tax dollars. So Christmas coming up, things like that, possibly, it may turn that around. We may get enough tax revenue and stuff to turn that around and do a little bit better on the budget than what we've got right now. And I understand you're talking about, what's the period of time you're talking about to be able to vet an officer, or basically find out if that's the he or she that you need,
Probably at least 2 months,
really?
at least 2 months. But if we go through the hiring process, we'll accept applications for a period of time.
Sure.
Before we even start the process, then we'll test, then we'll do interviews, then we'll do backgrounds, and again, once we get to that point. But again, I think you all probably realize that when we do hire somebody, we tell these people from the very start that this job is not a sure thing until the council gives final approval on it.
Right.
So if somebody's working somewhere else, we advise them, do not quit your job. Do not tell them you're taking this job at this point until you know. What I would say is, I would like for y'all just to let us go ahead and start the process. And again, if we determine at some point that it's looking like we're not gonna be able to, that would allow us to put the brakes and stop on it. But, you know, what we've got right now, currently, we've got 27 officers right now,
Right.
that are working right now.
Mhm.
We have a total of 33, but when I say 27, we've got 2 off on workers' comp right now, and one's gonna be off on, I'm sorry, we got 1 off on sick leave right now.
Okay.
And we've got another one coming up, it's probably gonna have to take some family medical leave. And what we're running into is, you know, we're getting more and more areas to cover out here.
Yes, sir.
The district's building out there, the housing project that's going in up north, and it's stretching us thin. And it's not cutting down on our calls for service.
Right.
We're constantly getting calls for service, people wanting us to do stuff. And then we have all of our special events.
Mhm.
We got, you know, Rocklahoma, Born and Raised. We have 5K runs. We have the Boo Ha Ha, and everybody wants officers.
Sure.
And we're having trouble keeping staffed. And then you've got vacations, you got sick leave, you got holidays, again, workers' comp, training, you know, training's a big issue with departments now. You gotta make sure that you're providing adequate training, or we'll get caught up possibly in a lawsuit. But there's just there's a lot of things that are going on that requires additional service out of us that we didn't do a few years ago.
Yes, sir.
The requirement wasn't there, and it's a heavy requirement on us.
It would be.
So do you think if the number of officers increase, will the amount of overtime hours decrease? Because we got a lot of overtime hours.
We do have, but again, we're
lot.
constantly getting calls for additional people. And if I had more people on shift, some of that could be covered by the shift, and we wouldn't have to call somebody on a special assignment.
Which
But
I'm
right
thinking-
now, we don't have any choice except to call somebody in, pay them time and a half to cover these events.
Well, and overtime salary significantly more than if we had
And
a
what we
regular officer.
budgeted for.
And again, there's not gonna be anything that I can guarantee that, yeah, if you let us hire this, we're not gonna have overtime.
Well, I'm sure there'll be some overtime, but that
Just
was
have
that was a
train
large.
breaks down.
Mhm.
They divert the interstate over there, and everybody's coming through Pryor. There's just certain things that happen beyond our control that require our attention. And it's hard with the current staff that we have to maintain that.
Yeah, this is tough all the way around. Like I say, we're looking at a deficit of over $700,000, and we're looking at, you know, basically where are we gonna come up with this? And the way the inflation's going, and your fuel bills too, you know, we've got a pretty good jump in fuel bills compared to what we normally would have with just the cost of fuel prices. And it looked like, you know, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and we saw the fuel prices go down, and now they're bounced back up. So, you know, the Saudis have decided to drop about 800,000 barrels a day. So things are not looking rosy for sure.
So, tell me how the Cherokee Marshals fit in this picture. Like, what is their jurisdiction? Are they allowed to help out in the city limits, or?
They are allowed to help and do help us from time to time. They've
Okay.
been a real help. Just recently, they've helped us some on whenever we had diversion of the interstate, had train issues, that one day we had 3 breakdowns within 2 days, and for hours, we
Right.
had to work traffic out there. So they do help us, but again, it's just not their normal everyday assignment here in Pryor. Sometimes they're available, other times they may be in another part of the area here, maybe down toward Tahlequah.
How many officers, and I'm just asking because I don't know, how many officers do you need per shift
How many do we need?
on patrol?
As we can get.
Well, I mean, what, if you had your patrol rosters filled, how many officers would be on patrol at any one time?
Well, on patrol, and again, this is just kind of the way that I've got it figured right now, we have approximately 20 on patrol. Does that sound right, Kevin?
Okay.
Because you've got 3 admin,
Mhm.
you got 5 SRO officers, and 4 of those are paid by the school.
Right.
And,
Is that counted in your 27 here?
yes.
Okay.
We're counting the total number of officers that are available
Okay.
here, yes.
Okay.
So again, you've got 3 admin, 5 SROs, 3 investigators, and we really need an additional investigator, but right now we're operating with 3. We have 1 assigned to IT, and then we got 1 that tries to work code enforcement as much as he can.
Yeah.
I'm sure you all are well aware of all the issues we have with codes.
Yes, sir.
But he can't concentrate all his efforts on codes. He has to help us out. So that's kind of where we're at. So it may sound like we've got a lot of officers, but when you look at what we do, we don't have that many to patrol. And again, that's a big area that we're lacking in, is because of these other issues that have workers' comp claims, sick leave, vacations, holidays, all this, it really cuts us short. And again, the public has come to expect the extra coverage, and we try to give it whenever we can, but
Sure.
all these special events, everybody automatically thinks if they're having a dance, we should be able to get officers there. The boo-ha-ha, the golf course has requested that, and he talked to me over a month ago, bringing to my attention that, hey, we sure would like to
Yeah.
have some officers out there. And just all these special events take people. And like you said, ma'am, right now it's cutting in our overtime. That's the only option we have.
Mayor, did you have something? I saw you rise earlier.
I didn't really want to butt into the.
Sure,
to the
sure.
Conversation, and Ms. Seaver brought up the comment about the overtime. It is true that you put officers on, the overtime will go down. It's also true if you put officers on, that salary line item will go up, and the pension will go up, and all those other line items will also go up. I think that we're a very, very safe community. And if we trade off safety for overtime hours, what would we rather have? If we trade off safety for additional officers to keep us safe, then how should we prioritize that? So I think we should debate about it. I think that we should talk it through. We represent every citizen. Our police, we have one of the safest communities anywhere. And one of the reasons we do is because of that presence. It's because of that presence. So I think to put a process in motion without the commitment to hire, I think that if we put a process in motion without the commitment to hire, then when that comes around, then we revisit.
I honestly, and you guys know, you sit in on it. I've been in on the 3 years worth of negotiations and things like that, and I'm behind you guys. But I've got to also be behind the city with where are we going to come up with the money. That's where I'm at right now. And I hate to say this, but this is just the way it is. I would like to table this for a period of time until the budget starts looking better, and we know that when you find the officers that you want, you will be able to hire them, and not pump them up and say, okay, you passed this, this, and this. We'll put it before the council, and the council, due to budgetary confinements, has to say no. And I know if I was looking for a job and somebody said, yeah, you passed everything, but no, you can't have the job because we don't have the money now, I'd feel disappointed. I don't know if that's the route to go, but that's a.
Mr. Chairman, if we do table, I think it would be appropriate to table for 1 month, and then revisit it after 1 month.
I feel like we should move forward because it's hard to find anybody. It's hard to find anybody, and it's not a guaranteed hire. And there are certain things we need to look at to be trimmed. I agree, maybe before the public safety.
So how do we trim? We trim by sharing vehicles. we trim by really watching our overtime hours and taking into consideration what that means.
We didn't even figure vehicles in on the new officers.
That's true.
So that's not even up for debate on that one.
But we currently could perhaps share.
Share a vehicle, sure, yeah.
I'm talking about ways to trim those expenses down.
Mhm.
So, anyway, and it's not my job to tell the chief how to handle his department.
No.
I'm not going to.
No.
I'm not going to.
I believe
I feel like a banker or something.
No, I believe
Hate
we
to feel
should,
that way.
we should move forward because the hiring process is lengthy. You put it out, post for hiring for a job, that'll take a couple weeks or longer, depending. And then by the time you do go through the vetting process, so we're looking probably end of December, early January. If normal process in the past, and it is what it is.
See, our last three hires, two of those are gonna start, I think it's 24th of October, two of them start, and the third one starts the 1st of November. So we hired those people quite a while back. I say quite a while back. It's been almost a month ago, I guess.
Mhm.
We started the process, though, 3 weeks
With-
ago.
Yes, at least.
And
And we'll also look at our current roster that we're hiring from now. We'll be looking at that, but we're anticipating that we're gonna have to go out for applications again.
Well, and if you should, hopefully you won't, nobody will have a reason to leave the department.
Hopefully not.
But,
Yeah.
the one on the FMLA, I mean, you just don't know circumstances. People have to move, people have a change in family situations.
Yeah.
I don't know, I know the budget's tight, and I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it, where are we at monetarily wise, and how are we gonna be able to pull that one off, and it's just, if the budget was in a little better situation right now, finishing up the police and fire and the library and all that costs some extra money. I mean, we're over, we had to get a $3 million loan just to get that thing finished, and so.
So that does come out of another budget of money.
It does, it
That-
does.
That is funded.
Sure, it is. It's not the same thing, but we're still sitting here where we're looking at fuel costs going up. We're looking at all this other stuff, and I would like to see you have 50 people, really. I mean, I honestly would, and you guys know that, but I don't know how, as far as the city goes, we could afford 50 police officers. I don't know how we could do it. I wish we could. Well, is there any further discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Call for a vote.
And the vote is for? We're not tabling the vote, because the motion is to.
No, the motion right now hasn't been changed. It's for
Recommend council.
recommended now.
Seaver,
Yes.
Chitwood,
yes,
Shropshire.
I'm going to say no, just because of the reasons that we talked about. Okay, so I guess it does pass. Okay. And again, it's not against you guys at all. It's just, when you're $700 and some thousand in the hole, you kind of got to figure out where we're going to come up with that. Okay, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding an expenditure in the amount of $3,250 to Fred Taylor Enterprises for 5 Lazy Boy recliners for the Pryor Creek Fire Department from bids received, to be paid from the fire department donations account 969655543. Other bids received, fire station is $3,249.95, does not include shipping costs, and Lazy Boy, $3,395. Do I have a motion?
motion,
Second, sorry.
Okay.
I'm still on the last one,
Motion's been made and
sorry.
seconded.
Sorry.
Okay, so discussion time.
Those are just chairs for the news station. That's coming out of our donation account. We get people from time to time, just holler at us and say, hey, how can we help you? And if we don't have an expense or something we really need at that time, we kind of just throw in that donations and wait for something. We've been kind of prepping that account for a while because we knew there was going to be some things that we didn't include in the news station. So it's kind of our purchase stuff that we didn't plan for, having capital outlay, but we saw those, they're telling us 6 to 8 weeks lead time on some of them. I think they got, some stores will have 2 or 3 here, hit and miss, but whatever we can get, but we can lock that number in even if they got to order them out, but.
Just asking, I'm looking at a picture of it here. It says heavy duty, but it says it's an engine company recliner, so does that mean they're built a little heavier duty?
So they beef them up a little bit, they're a little bit more, they assume that we spend more wear and tear on those things than most for just guys coming and going.
That they're not set up for your Scotty pack to fall back?
No, and the guys, if they could figure that out, they would, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, they're supposed to be a little heavier. We've got, similar ones at the station we're at now, and they've done really good.
okay, all right.
The material we found out, actually, a guy told us to make that material last. We've actually got a different cleaning solution we put on it, and it's amazing just what if we, clean
Good.
up after ourselves really helps.
Yeah, yeah.
But the boys are figuring that out a little better than what we used to. But no, yeah, they're a little heavier built.
Good.
And, they're made to be, all those ones that we got quotes on are
Heavy
what they
duty.
consider for fire department use or
Good.
around the clock.
I just didn't want to get one and fall apart in a year or so, and,
No, and that's what a lot of people don't realize, because even like a family home doesn't get the amount of hours that we actually put inside the station, because it's
Sure.
24/7, 365. So even when people kind of move out, our stuff's getting, anything from our refrigerators to our appliances throughout the station. So those are made to be heavy built, so
okay, good.
we've had good luck so far.
That's good. Any other discussion? All right, let's call for a vote.
Chitwood,
Yes,
Shropshire,
Yes,
Seaver,
Yes.
okay.
they're white, right?
I'm sorry.
They're white, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, we joked about getting the old school plastic covers, like my grandpa used to
Yeah,
have on the
yeah, they're-
furniture, or
yeah.
nobody could get on, it had.
Slide in and out
Yeah.
of them, yeah. You get doilies too. Okay, I guess that passed. Good enough. Okay, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding transfer of $150,000 from capital outlay fire department account 444455422 to fire truck rescue account 454555412.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, and discussion.
That's pretty much our capital outlay we set back for fire trucks. We always move it to our, what we call the reserve fund or reserve fire truck fund. That allows us to build, to where we're not we don't do leases or whatever. We build that account up, and when we get to the money to where we can purchase a new truck. So we've got that other one that's getting built now, but, those little, that one we bought now is 737 grand. So
Yeah,
it's a chunk. So even setting 150, 100 to 200,000 back a year, we're still looking at cycling those one trucks out, and the ones we got now are, we need to be planning ahead, but
Right.
kind of gives us a thing to where we're not borrowing money. We kind of save ahead, and, some people will tell you, well, it's cheaper because by the time the truck goes up, so much percent per year, it's cheaper to get it here than borrowing the money, but it also gives us the ability, if something bad happens, we can,
you have something to work with.
yeah, and if things go a different way or something happens and somebody else gets into an issue, we've got that money that's still in our reserve deal. So it helps us just plan for the future.
Yep. This is normal. This is what happens every year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Somebody, however many years ago it was, started this method of setting money aside for fire engine. One of the most expensive things that we could even choose to do out of the general fund.
Yes. And I learned from Chief Thompson, he was a great chief for me to learn under, but one of the big things came up, like as you do that too, and I'll sit there and scream and yell as much as I can, but if something were to happen with another department to where a bigger chunk of capital needed to go somewhere for an emergency deal, then y'all might only give me 50, but we're still building. But, as long as we're hitting those earmarks and we know, hey, here in another 5 years, 6 years, we're gonna be looking at getting another truck, we're building towards that, but we can also say, hey, so-and-so ran into this, or this department ran into that, and
Yeah.
capital money needs to be spent here. But no, that's something that I was fortunate enough to learn. Chief Thompson kind of showed me to.
Seems to be working.
from that perspective of talking to vendors, it also places us in the best position that we could be in when we're talking to a vendor, because they're not wondering about, is City Pryor Fire Department gonna be able to pay for this?
Mhm.
And because we've been doing that for several years, and we show
Yeah.
that, so, yep.
Okay, any more discussion? All right, call for a vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes,
Chitwood,
Yes.
Thank y'all.
thank you.
Number 11, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding opening applications for the city development coordinator / city planner position, which was approved in the 2022-2023 budget for number 02-203-5014. Motions.
Motion.
Second?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if it'd be all right, I would like to make the case for item 11, 12, and 13, but I would also like to ask you to table item 11, 12, and 13. In making the case for a city development coordinator / city planner, this is a position that is valuable to the city from the standpoint that it keeps us on track with our comprehensive plan. It keeps us on track with managing grants that are available for the different components of our city development. And I think that, well, 2 years ago, I had that on the budget. We didn't spend it. And then the next year, it was not on the budget. And the reason it was not, because we were going through COVID stuff, and we weren't sure how our receipts were gonna turn out. Right now, there's more grant monies available right now than I've ever seen before. And to be able to manage those grant monies that can be available is something that is a perfect job for a city planner. Because the city planner is looking at all aspects of planning of the city, from streets, from roads to sidewalks to downtown corridor to comprehensive plan. A city planner would also lead us in updating our comprehensive plan, which needs to be done about every 5 to 8 years. And so we are, it's time that we do that. So that's the case for the city planner, because of the grants that a city planner would be able to identify and bring to us. I think that city planner would pay for their wages. Some of those grants would be matching grants. Sometimes they're one-to-one matching. Sometimes they're 80-20 matching. But anyway, that's the case for the city planner. If we brought in a city planner, then we would need to have space for the city planner and for a clerk with a city planner, and for furnishings for that space. So item 12 and item 13 are those items that would be to renovate part of our city hall, the large storage area that's just on the other side of this wall, this hallway, and then the furnishings would also be appropriate to fund. So let me back up. Item 11, 12, and 13, I think I can make a good case if we have the funds available. Right now, I don't think it's wise to have that expenditure right now.
If we can't afford police officers, we sure don't need this person. That's the way I
about
see it.
$105,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at this time, we just don't have the budget for it. Like I said, if we're going, first ones we need to hire is police officers, and then this will be down the road after we get police officers hired.
I would ask you to table 11, 12, and 13 until our budget is such that we feel like that it's wise to spend that.
Okay. So do you want to go ahead and read 12 and 13? Or
They have to be handled individually.
individually?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll
all right,
change my motion to table.
Okay.
Second?
Okay, the motion's been changed to table number 11. Call for a vote.
Seaver,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Yes. Number 12, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding requesting bids for renovation of the City Hall large storage room to be converted into a small storage room and 2 offices, as shown on the drawing. These 2 offices are intended to be occupied by city planner and clerk. This project is estimated to cost $27,628 and is budgeted to expense from general repair and maintenance account 02-201-5091. Have a motion.
Motion?
Second,
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Discussion.
motion
We
to
need
table.
Okay, motion to table. There you go.
Second?
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to table. Call for a vote.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Seaver.
Yes.
Okay, number 13, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding ordering furnishings for the city planner and clerk offices from L&M Office Furniture at state contract pricing, OMNIA number R191811 and R191804 in the amount of $8,727.13 from the general repair and maintenance account 02-201-5019.
Motion,
Motions? Okay, discussion?
motion to table. You mean.
Okay,
Could I?
Second.
Could I speak
Yes.
again?
sure.
To these motions. Part of the reason why our budget reporting has not been up to date is because the operating system that we use and that we contract with, we've had some difficulties. The name of that company is Cassell. We've had some difficulties. We have very capable people doing that work, making those entries all the way from our city accountant to our city clerk to our city Lois, our city
Treasurer.
our city treasurer. Yes, my mind is 5 steps ahead.
I hear you.
So we still, with our reporting, with our operating system, we are still tweaking that. They've had changes in that company, not the same people that we've dealt with. We find that out after the fact. And so you would think that that would be simple, but it's not. It's not simple. So if they change their operating system, they tweak their operating system, then it affects how we are able to do our reporting, how we're able to do our entries into that system. So I'm confident that within the next month, the next time you see one of these reports, you won't see on one of those sections a whole bunch of zeros. You'll see accurate reporting. So we're still trying to get that done, and that's one of the reasons why these three items are on the agenda tonight. Because up until just a few days ago, I'm trying to determine, do we have those funds? Is it wise to promote that? Well, because some of those numbers were not reporting correctly, then that's what the determination was. So anyway, that's the reason why the confusion, and I apologize about that, but that's full transparency to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, we have a motion and a second to table item number 13. Call for a vote, please.
Shropshire,
Yes?
Seaver,
Yes.
Chitwood.
Yes.
Okay, I know of none, I don't know of any unforeseen business, so motion to adjourn.
Motion,
Second?
Call for a vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Chitwood.
yes.
All right, we are adjourned.
All right.